All right, turning now to Australia's skills crisis and the Albanese government's complete failure to fix the issue through its poor immigration and higher education policies. I know they've had 6 months in the role, but they said they were ready and they're failing to deal with it. New data from the Australian Population Research Institute has found that while universities continue to prioritise the teaching of overseas students over domestic students, it's not going to do anything to fix the issues that we confront in this country. I mean, some data there is in 2020, 40% of all university graduates were actually overseas students. And of course, the fee revenue, which makes it so attractive for our unis, forms 27% of total university funding. However, most of the overseas student graduates are in fields with absolutely no relevance to Australia's urgent skills needs. Nearly half of them are in management and commerce, despite there being no domestic shortage of such graduates. So why are we providing opportunities for people and then potential visas for them if they study here? Joining me now is Head of the Australian Population Research Institute, Bob Birrell. Bob, thanks very much for your time. Can you tell me a little bit more about what this research found today?
Well, Cory, what we concentrated on was the issue of how is it that despite decades of concern about shortages in key skilled areas like IT and engineering, we got to this point in 2022 and we've still got a serious crisis. So we asked the question, well, what are universities actually doing and why aren't they prioritising these concerns? And the answer is that they simply don't have to. They can determine where they allocate their teaching resources, and successive governments, the Coalition and now Labor, are not changing the situation at all. So when we then ask this question, well, what are the universities actually doing? Well, they're doing what you just indicated, that a massive amount of their teaching resources, accommodation, etc., is allocated to overseas students. 40% of graduates, as you indicated, and that includes large numbers in IT and in engineering. In fact, universities are graduating more overseas students in engineering and IT than they are domestic students.
Bob, I would put to you, and I'd be happy for your response here, that a lot of the universities are just interested in pushing out degrees and diplomas in the courses that are very cheap to produce: law, business, commerce. If you've actually got an engineering degree or a medical degree, it's much more expensive, and so they focus that on those who are paying the higher fees, which are overseas students. Is that a reasonable assumption?
Well, I think it's certainly true in the case of the enormous enrolment of overseas students that the universities, they can charge what the market will bear, and they can do what they please with the funds, and what they're doing with it is subsidising their research and the trophy buildings put on their campuses and so on. Rather than prioritising skills which are short supply in Australia. And as I said, Australian governments, and now the Australian Labor government, has decided that it's going to continue to allow this practice.
Yeah, it's doing us all a disservice, but thank you for bringing it to our attention. We really appreciate your insights and the research that your organisation is doing. Bob Birrell, thank you.